Good morning, guys, and welcome to Episode 2 of Dusting Off Warlord, Saga of the Storm, featuring Princess Alizeh from the 20th anniversary Little Baby expansion. My name is Zach, and this is going to be another kind of casual look at the Accord lands from the perspective of someone who pretty much plays kitchen table beer setting. I'm not really into the competitive scene. Um, this episode is going to be kind of a bit different from the last one for two pretty notable reasons. The first, I don't have anywhere near as much experience playing Princess Alizeh as I do Reg because when Siege came out, I was playing Reg kind of regularly back then, so I do kind of know what I'm talking about a little bit with that Warlord. I've probably played less than a dozen games with Alizeh, so I have nowhere near as much I don't want to say authority because it's not quite the right word, but I'm definitely not as knowledgeable. But that being said, the other reason is unlike Reg Alizeh is one of my favorite warlords so far. I think Robert beats her, and I think he might be the only one. I'm a really big fan of her for multiple different reasons. Um, in order to kind of explain those reasons, I am going to go into a little brief uh, discussion on the Chosen as a faction, in case you weren't around for 4th edition. And that has a lot to do with why I think she's such a brilliant warlord. After that, we will look at her card herself, her rules, and then I will show you what I am currently running in my Princess Alizeh. Okay, so if you weren't around for 4th edition or you are really new to the game, the Chosen were a faction that Phoenix Interactive released during the 4th edition block of Warlord. From a fluff perspective, I don't really well, if I'm understanding correctly, something along the lines of some explosion went off somewhere in the Accord lands and it opened the way to the land of Thessaria that nobody had ever seen before, and it has a very I guess Persian feel to it, as far as the looks and the aesthetics to it. The faction as a whole is basically revolving around thralls, which are like the slave class, and then everything else that benefits when they kill your thralls. Not everything did that, but that's generally speaking. Like if you had to, I don't know. When you think of Nothrogs, you may think of siege characters. When you look at freaks, you may think of lycanthropes, devs, storm wraiths. For the Chosen, it was thralls and demons basically. The problem that I think the Chosen had, at least the problem I saw with them, and why I never really saw them succeed in my area was. Warlord doesn't use a resource system the way games like Magic the Gathering or Legend of the Five Rings do. What I mean by that is, in Magic you have lands that are a resource to let you do things. Legend of the Five Rings had holdings. There isn't anything like that in Warlord. Warlord is basically your army is already there, everything's been paid for. But the Chosen almost seems like they're trying to introduce the concept of that kind of spendable resource, through the use of killing your thralls, killing your own characters. And we have seen of some things like this in the past. The Warlord Vaqueros from the Nothrogs he is a very Chosen feeling warlord. Like if you have ever played him, he feels a lot like what a Chosen warlord would do. There was also Ring of Piercing that came out of Stolen Destinies that also turned your bodies into melee strikes basically. The problem with it is, I'm trying to think of how to put this. You can destroy people's lands in Magic. You can destroy people's holdings in L5R. In Magic, you have cards like Stone Rain, Armageddon, things like that. And in Legend of the Five Rings, you have, what was it, Fist of Asanowo. I think Explosives is the other one. But those cards by themselves, destroying your opponent's holdings doesn't really directly propel your win condition. Like, generally speaking, your opponents don't lose life when you destroy their lands. Your opponent's provinces aren't threatened when they lose holdings most of the time. So you would have to kind of include specific cards to do these things. The problem with making your thralls into that kind of currency is your opponent doesn't have to include anything special to destroy your resources. They just have to do what they're already doing. They just have to start attacking you. And so you have this finite resource of bodies, and you have to start making some really crappy choices about, am I going to attack with my thrall? Am I going to kill my own character, which my opponent is already trying to do, further weakening and unstabilizing my army, to get an effect out of these demons and out of these warlords and other cards that benefit from my thralls dying? And kind of the death knell to this is most of the effects, they don't even really seem like they're very good. I mean, look at some of their demons. What is it? Pagophoros, I think is what his name is. He's a 4th level fighter. You can rush him to your front line, but you have to kill 3 ready thralls. 3 ready bodies have to die in order to shove this guy up there. Once he's there, he's not especially good, and his stats aren't especially good. You compare this to something like I Am Hotelum or I don't know, Count Vyacheslav, and like this guy really doesn't seem very good. And again, he's costing you all these bodies. Something like Amenos, like kill 5 thralls. 5 thralls have to die to make this guy good, and it's like, and the thralls have to be ready, so you can't even attack with them to get some value before you're eating them with your own dudes. There were some that I think weren't bad. I think Getraxos is his name. Probably, in my opinion, the best of a bad lot. But for the most part, even the thralls that have dying effects, like most of the effects, really are not very good. And when I didn't really pick them up as a faction, I did get most of the early adventure packs. And so I did have them, but I didn't really play them. And the people who did try to play them, I'm not a good player of Warlord, okay? But every time these guys would try to, they would try to do demon summoning, and it's like, I would sit there and I would watch him expending these resources, and, his demon would enter play, and I'm looking at it like, okay, that's wonderful. I have an I Am Hotelum next to a Driga, and I'm just gonna turn them sideways. I'm just yeah. So one of the things that I think is so brilliant about Alizeh is, I don't know that this was their thought process, but it almost seems to me like the design team understood that. Like, they understood that, yeah, you're losing a bunch of dudes, you're getting kind of not so great effects out of it. So what did they do? They made a Warlord where you don't have to kill your own guys for your own guys to do their thing, and it's brilliant. Like, I love it. Very Joan of Arc, leader of the resistance, feel to this character. And even up to including the fact that she's a rogue instead of, because you could have seen this character conceptually as a cleric, and it really wouldn't have been all that different. So I'm a big fan of her for that. Just conceptually, I hated the idea of just killing your own thralls to do things, getting kind of crappy effects out of it. So instead of demon summoning, we are just going to take our thralls and we're going to go bash somebody's face in. So let's take a look at Alizeh herself. Okay, so Princess Alizeh, she is a 5th level good chosen bard warlord. She's got 2 attacks at +6 and +3, 16 armor class, +9 skill, and 3 hit points. So the first part of her card says, your characters may perform printed reacts to an opposing character killing your thrall, as if the thrall were killed as part of an action's payment or by a character you control. I had to read that several times when she first came out. Her second ability, order once per turn, ready a non-stunned thrall you control. So the reason why this character so turns, in my opinion, at least in my opinion, so turns the faction onto its head is, one, it's all about thralls. There's no mention of demons on this at all, and all of your thralls that you used to have to kill yourself, like you used to have to sacrifice them to do things, they just do that now when your opponent kills your guys. And that's incredible. Like, that's an amazing text right there. Instead of going, I'm gonna try to do my own thing here. I'm not attacking while this is happening. Meanwhile, my opponent is killing my dudes, all for me to set up something that's probably not very good. Now it's just, you're gonna play thralls, and when you kill them, they do their thing, which is great. Several characters do benefit from this more than others. One in particular, the heavy hitter of the deck, it's sublime, okay? So, the other part of her card, and this is the crazy part, is order once per turn, ready a non-stunned thrall you control. There's no level limitation. There's no range limitation. It's just, are you a thrall and are you not stunned? If so, round 2, baby. And so, you compare this to something like Nitesh Imran. he has to make a save, and there's I believe there might be a level restriction. You compare that to this, and this is way better. At least in my opinion, this is way better. I think Nighttish may be able to target other like other people's dwarves. I don't know. I freaking love this. So here is what I'm running in my Princess Alizeh in its current form. I'm starting 3 copies of Shalta and 2 copies of Breedomar, along with the princess herself. So the Shaltas start off at +0 attack and 10 AC, but as soon as somebody kills a Thrall, whether it's them or the Breedomar, they jump up to +3 attack and 13 armor class, which is pretty good for a starter. These are kind of contemporaries of Hayden Riss. The Breedomars are basically just there to swing, as they're getting killed. +4 is definitely not bad. It's not great, but you can do some damage with that. I have tried several alternate starts with this. One of them, I was running a single copy of the Devoted with 2 others in the deck. I kind of took it out because it didn't really do much. Mostly I play that as a way of stalling, and this deck never really felt like I needed to stall with it. So I have a third copy of Breedomar in the deck, and then 2 copies of Kali. Now, you can start these as well. I don't think they're terrible as starters. They do buff all your Shaltas. They make them +2 attack, 12 AC as starters, which is pretty good for a starter, and that's before they trigger their own ability. The reason I don't play these as starters now is these themselves are not thralls. So, say somebody, I don't know, shoots into rank 2 as their opening action and kills one of these, the Shaltas won't trigger, which is unfortunate. In addition to that, if you drop one of the fighting thralls, and these die, these are not thralls, so you won't get any of the triggered effects. So, I think it is a viable start. It's just not one that I'm particularly fond of myself. But these buff almost everybody in the deck, which is kind of nice. So I think they're solid. As far as the fighting staff goes, we have 2 copies of Radu Diram, 3 copies of Radu Kar, and 3 copies of Radu Tam as level 3s. So these guys are kind of the not the tip of the spear, but these guys will be doing a lot of your work. The Radu Tams, when they ascend to Demonhood, they've got 2+5s, which is nice. The Radu Cars have a +4 and a +3. These guys are kind of like the lightweight of the hitter, like the fighting characters in this deck. The thing is, these guys can get to the front really, really fast. As your thralls die, these guys just start scooting forward, and when they die, you get to draw a card, so they get work done. Radu Duran, this guy has the potential to be the hardest hitting of the level 3 fighters, because he does have power attack and repost. The problem is his skill is really low at +3, and his bonus to his feats are really not much better, so he probably doesn't make his rolls. If he does, that's awesome. He just probably won't, so don't expect it, but when it happens, it's great. And then we move on to kind of what the deck is built around. This beautiful bastard here, Radu Firam. So this guy is a 4th level fighter with a +7/+2 attack mod. He's got 14 armor class, 2 hit points, +4 skill. His text gives him charges when your thralls die. Normally you would have to kill the thralls yourself, but again, because it's princess, they trigger off of anybody killing your thralls. And once he has 3 charges on him, he becomes a demon, and he gets +3 attack and armor class, an extra hit point, but most importantly, he starts doing double wounds when he hits things, which is really, really good. In addition to that, he doesn't stop being a thrall when he ascends to Demonhood, so Princess can ready this guy, and this guy can get a lot of work done if you can ready him, even just once in a single turn. So the focus of the deck is really to get this guy out kind of as fast as you can, get him up to the front as quickly as you can, and just have him start wailing on things, and I've had great results with that. As far as support staff goes, we have a single copy of Blood Cauldron. As a thrall dies, once per turn, you can put a charge on it and then go fishing through the top cards of your deck for a thrall. Par for the course. A single copy of Master Tyrcultus. Now, I have never actually drawn this guy, so I don't know if he's worth it in this deck or not. He seems like he should be because he can give all your thralls, a pretty decent buff to whatever you need buffed. If I hopefully draw him, I'll find out whether he's worth including or not, but I've never got him. So, and then it's ancient, so of course we got a single copy of Torin Yasar to go fishing for that Radu Firam. As far as toys for them go, we have 3 copies of Griffin of Masir and a single copy of Camel. So originally I was actually running, I think I was just running like 3 riding horses because Princess herself cannot equip the Griffins. And there are some situations where you do want her to move forward without spending. And the riding horses were kind of a compromise because both them and the fighting thralls could equip them. In the end, I think the griffins do work out better. They do give you a little bit of attack, and the ability to fix ranks with their react is really nice. There is a single copy of Camel in here that she can equip if she needs to, and the thralls can equip this too. So yeah, we have a single copy of Portable Hole. This is movement, but it's really only in here for the draw. So this might be better off as something like a Bag of Holding, but for now, I'm just running this, and it's worked out fine. And then a single copy of Spider Vestments, also for Princess. This gives her stealth and a little buff to her armor class. If someone is really trying to get her when she's in rank 3, it's probably not going to keep you alive, but it should help give you some pretty sizable protection against just stray shots that are headed your way. And then rounding it out for the items, we have 3 copies of Copus of the Meek. So this is the item that came out for the Chosen in the 20th anniversary set. It is a classless weapon, gives you +2 attack. Your thralls get +2 attack. So this is classless, anybody can equip it. So if say a Radufiriam is holding this, this is going to give him +4 attack, which is not a small increase to his stats. It also has the react. Before this character dies, spend Copus of the Meek, perform a melee strike. So again, I keep pointing at Radufiriam, but really he's kind of what the deck is built around. If they kill him when he has this on, he gets to punch with assuming he's demoned up, which he probably will be. This is going to be a +14 for 2 wounds as he dies, and it doesn't have to target the guy who killed him. So I've gotten a lot of good results out of this when they kill him, or when you kill him, as we will see. As far as actions go, we got some cards right here in the form of 3 copies of Meet at the End, which I think is fairly par for the course. I think a lot of decks do run this, because, but we also have 3 copies of Bardic Knowledge, which is quite a bit more limited on who can play this. It is much different in Princess as opposed to someone like Railer Magicbane, who you can set up a critical failure so that you can look at your entire deck with this. She can't really do that, so I generally don't pick a number higher than 5. She needs to roll 6 to do that, which the odds are pretty good. And that's mostly, again, to find a Radufiriam. She doesn't have to spend to use this, so I get good value out of it. Her spending abilities, though, the spend orders that are specifically for her are 3 copies of By Your Word and 3 copies of Spirit Singing. These do the same thing. Basically, these ready a thrall. Ideally, you're readying a Radufiriam. A lot of times what happens is, I'll drop a Radufiriam in rank 4. I'll give him a Griffin, and I'll just stun him forward. I won't use the Griffin at all. Stun him to rank 2, use one of these to ready him, steed forward, go to town, and then use Alizeh herself to ready him. So you can run kind of an alternate take on this where you're running some extra bards to help her, particularly Deuce and Drake, who he can play Spirit Singing, and if you want to run some of the other spend order or spend react bard actions like Song of Triumph that I think is really solid, and you're worried about not having enough bodies to spend, he's an option. Unfortunately, he's only level 3, so he can't ready Radufiriam with Spirit Singing, but it's possible. You can try that out. As far as the last cards here, I've got some skullduggery here in the form of 3 copies of Dirge of the Dead and 3 copies of Hero's Gambit. So Dirge of the Dead is basically just, it's kind of a troll card, I think, more than anything. Ideally speaking, someone's trying to kill your ready Radufiriam. They win initiative, and they go, okay, I can't let him swing, and they kill him. And then you get to grin and play this, and he doesn't die, and it's a great feeling. You can use this to kind of shore your ranks up a bit, too, if you have to, which I think is mostly what I use it for. I don't think I've ever actually gotten the scenario I just described. I really want to, but I'm pretty sure I haven't made it happen yet. The Hero's Gambit, any of the fighting thralls can play this, and you can get some fairly good value out of, I think, all of them. Radutam is, I believe, 2 + 5s for 2 wounds. I mean, that's pretty good if they're not expecting it coming. He's spent in rank 1. Radufiriam with that, again, the wounds start doing 3, meaning he can one-shot a large majority of Warlords with that. If he has a Copus on, it could be, 2 3-wound strikes followed by the Copus spending to do another strike for 2 wounds. It can be pretty awesome when it happens. I do not believe that this way of playing her, the support way where you're basically just using her to ready things, I don't think that's the only way to play her. I think she is perfectly viable as a frontliner. As a bard, she has access to things like Horn of Battle. She has Inspiration. Some of the just other rogue things to help keep her alive there. I think it's doable, just not my take on it. I just like readying Radufiriam too much, so... I think that is going to conclude Dusting Off Warlord Saga of the Storm featuring Princess Alizeh. Again, one of my favorite warlords. For how little game time I have with her, she has just been an absolute blast. I've enjoyed pretty much every game, even when I die horribly. It's been a good time. This is, however, not the last we are going to see from her on this channel. Hopefully before too terribly long here, I'm going to be joined by a couple other players in discussing our top picks for the alliance format coming out, the multiplayer multi warlord format that Kingswood Games has come up with. So wouldn't you know it, Alizeh makes the cut for me. So until then, thanks for checking this out, and I will catch you in the next video.